Now at 4, Vice President J.D. Vance met with Governor Mike Braun at the Indiana State House today, and the topic of redistricting came up. I'm Emily Longnecker. The fight Democrats say they're ready to have to stop that from happening.
And there's plenty of sunshine outside. The heat is lingering, and temperatures, well, those have been into the 80s all day. When will we hit 90s? I'll let you know coming up.
Shelter in place lifted. We have the latest on a hazmat emergency this afternoon in Noblesville following a chemical explosion.
Plus, a mother's harrowing account of what she calls a racist and intimidating attack at a gas station on the north side of Indy.
Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News. Good afternoon. Great to have you with us here at 4 o'clock on a Thursday. I'm Dustin Grove here with Anne Marie, who's in for Felicia.
And thanks for watching 13 News at 4. We'll have more on those stories for you in just a moment. Plus, we have something for parents. We are live at a free vaccination clinic that's underway at the Children's Museum. In fact, the doors there opened just seconds ago. We have a crew there, Ella Rhodes, and she's been talking to the doctors. And we're going to check back with Ella in just a bit for this back to school information and opportunity for your kids' health and everything else you need to know. That's coming up.
That's right. Looking forward to that. First up, the vice president's trip to Indianapolis today and his meeting behind closed doors with the governor and 2 top lawmakers.
On the agenda, the possibility of adding more Republican seats in Congress by redrawing our congressional districts. But Democrats say not if they can help it.
We have team coverage on this political battle and the fallout, including protests held in several parts of the city.
We begin our comprehensive team coverage tonight with our State House reporter, Emily Longnecker, who joins us live at the State House. Emily.
Yeah, and Dustin, coming out of that meeting today with the vice president, the governor confirmed that they discussed an array of topics, and the topic of redistricting did come up. Going into this meeting, Governor Braun had characterized it as a meeting where he was going to listen and that they would be possibly talking about redistricting, but he said that he hadn't made any commitments around that topic. Now, Democrats characterize this as a power grab, and they say it's all about the president being afraid of losing Republican seats in the House in the midterms in 2026. Indiana has 9 congressional seats. Right now, 7 are held by Republicans, 2 are held by Democrats. One of those seats, District 1 in northern Indiana, is held by Democratic Congressman Frank Mervan. The other, District 7, is held by Democratic Congressman Andre Carson. Both were part of a rally today at the Indiana State House along with state lawmakers. They pushed back on the idea of the governor calling a special session to redraw Indiana's congressional maps. That just happened in 2021 after the last census. Democrats here today said they would fight such a move that they believe is coming.
I know very confidently, and I believe humbly, that this is a done deal. And what I want to say is, no matter if Governor Braun bends a knee to Vance and Trump, it isn't going to increase his prospect of being a president of the United States.
And that was Congressman Frank Mervan. Experts believe that his seat, District 1, would be the most at risk between the 2 Democratic congressmen if these districts were redrawn. Others pointing out that Vance's visit comes just a day after the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, saying a move like this to redraw these districts would disenfranchise a lot of Hoosier voters and silence their voices at the ballot box. Now, my colleague Brandon Schaff was also here today, and he spoke with some of those voters. Brandon, what did those folks have to say?
Yeah, good afternoon, Emily. It was an exciting day here at the State House as we knew that the vice president would be making his way here. We obviously did not see him since those discussions happened behind closed doors, but we did see a lot of the voters and the people who had very strong opinions about the vice president being here in Indiana. Let's show you the scene that we filmed earlier today here at the State House with those protesters showing up. They had signs. There were hundreds of people gathering in the State House rotunda here. Many of them with those signs that allowed them to voice their opinions about Vice President J.D. Vance's visit here to the state capitol. Vance left the State House after that morning meeting with those top Republican lawmakers, which included the governor, and they talked about that potential effort to redraw Indiana's congressional districts. Well, Colin Bricker came here to oppose those redistricting talks, and he says that Vance being here increases pressure for it in a state that already has very few Democratic districts.
This redistricting seems like a real way to, silence what people want. That's wrong. That's not democracy.
Bricker is a Democrat who lived in Indianapolis for more than a decade, and as a delegate last year, he also campaigned for multiple candidates. Well, he says that it shouldn't just happen randomly, this redistricting, and Republicans already have a supermajority in Indiana, so he wonders why they need even more representation. And he also said that he's really proud of all of the Democratic lawmakers who came here to really give their perspective on all of these conversations that are happening right now when it comes to redistricting and beyond. For now, we'll send it back to you.
All right, and important to point out, the governor made it clear to reporters today that said there was no action taken, and in fact, he told our partners at the Capitol Chronicle, we listened. So we'll have to continue to see what happens out of that meeting today.
Right. Brandon reporting live from the State House tonight with Emily Longnecker as well.
And following the vice president's visit, Governor Braun did post on X, quote, "It was great to meet with the vice president today. We discussed a number of issues and I was pleased to highlight some of the great things happening in Indiana." Well, there's a national conversation surrounding redistricting right now. You may recall Texas lawmakers are already in a special session to redraw their congressional districts. Republicans have a majority in their state house down there.
So in response, the Democratic minority did the only thing that they said they could do to block the vote. They left the state. But now it looks like the FBI may go track them down.
Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas says the feds have agreed to do that. The FBI, though, has not confirmed that as of this afternoon. Democrats say it's all grandstanding and these lawmakers haven't really broken any laws. Other news now, a shelter-in-place order has just been lifted in Noblesville after a chemical explosion downtown. This happened just after 1 o'clock this afternoon at the Indiana American Water Treatment Facility, which is near Wayne and North 8th Street. That's just north of the Hamilton County Courts building. You might even be able to see the parking garage adjacent to the courts building in that video there. The treatment facility says there's no indication water service has been affected or disrupted. We've also been told nobody was hurt.
Other news now this afternoon, an Indianapolis woman says 2 men threw racial slurs at her and her kids and then put a hole in her car.
Our Ashton Hackman shows us the damage and shares what the woman says happened.
That woman tells me she comes to this gas station on 96th Street nearly every day, but her entire life living in Indianapolis, she says she's never experienced anything like this.
This is a hole that was put in my car.
Rakita Spears Easter says this hole came from 2 men who were next to her at the Meyer gas station on the far northeast side. What was supposed to be a normal trip Wednesday afternoon quickly changed.
When I got out of my car, they threw out some racial slurs directed towards me. Never acknowledged them, didn't pay too much attention.
Spears had her 8- and 2-year-old sons in the back seat. She said she left the car locked and running and went inside to pay for gas. When she came back out, her oldest son was crying.
I noticed that the hole in my car. I asked my son what happened. He explained to me that the 2 gentlemen that were throwing out racial slurs when I first got to the gas station, one of them walked up and started either banging or pushing on this window, and then he yelled out some racial slurs and then took a tool from the vehicle that they were driving and swung it and hit my door.
Spears filed the report with IMPD Thursday morning after Fishers police told her it was out of their jurisdiction. She says gas station clerks told her they didn't have cameras that captured what happened. She just hopes the people responsible are caught and says it was a teaching moment for her kids.
Those are just words, nasty words, but those are just words. That's not who you are, doesn't define you. And it doesn't make up who you are.
Metro Police are investigating what happened and looking for the people responsible. Anyone with information or who might have saw anything are asked to give IMPD a call. In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
All right, to the weather now on this Thursday afternoon, taking a live look downtown Indy on a really nice looking afternoon. I think we're all in the 80s, right? Everybody made it to the 80s today?
We're pushing to 90, but we
Almost
don't
to
know if
90.
anyone made it.
Yeah, it really depends on how much sunshine we receive over the next few days, because this air mass is getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Today, really tough to get there. But I think over the next several days, 90s will become more of the rule and less of the exception. So it really is going to be a warm pattern that's not going to change very much. To be honest, I don't have much to talk about in the weather.
Oh,
except
Rob,
that
you've
it's
always
the
got
same
stuff to
thing.
talk about.
Day off.
As my producer just said in my ear that I'm going to cut my time a little short today. Temperatures 88, and no, there are no 90s on the board just yet. Many locations didn't quite make it there today, but I really think over the next several days, with all of that sunshine, we're getting warmer and warmer and warmer. The heat index is not as much of a factor as perhaps it was a couple of weeks ago when we had those extremely high humidities that were in place. Still feels like it's 90 degrees, still feels like 95 farther to the west. Almost 100 is what it feels like in Champaign. But these temperatures will probably be very similar tomorrow. We are watching the radar. Overall, most of you have not seen any rain today, but there are a couple of very isolated showers or even a few rumbles of thunder that are popping up. When we talk about isolated or stray storms, this is exactly what we're talking about. Most of you aren't seeing it, but there are a couple of little isolated showers and storms that are popping up on radar. Overall, most of you are not going to be dealing with that. Through this evening, expect for temperatures to cool back down out of those 80s into the 70s during the overnight. We'll go with mostly clear skies, temperatures right around 70, give or take a degree or two either side of that. We'll put 70 on the board. I'll be back in a bit to look at Friday's forecast, including heading into the weekend, much more of the same, but there are some subtle changes that I'll talk about as we head to the weekend.
All right, looking forward to it, Rob. Thank you. Honoring our bravest, the special ceremony for the Fort Stewart soldiers who subdued the gunman accused of shooting 5 of his peers.
Plus, the 2 streaming services that soon will be bundled into one app.